Apparently. Let's see. Ilar, what do you have to say of all this? See no need to add anything. I acted with the agreement of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interests of your proctorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the next time of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go down to the lower decks. Stop the assault unit and speak directly to the people. You see they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way you stop the uprising before it begins. What is Depot for? Depot 4 is one of the poorest sections on the lower ships. It is home to clans of general laborers. They are not as valuable to the ship as the families who have served in specialized systems for generations. They're easily a replaceable resource, and one which is now more besides giving succor to cultists and minions of the arch enemy. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at least that means drunken fights and legal rock gut brewing. We have handled the workers of Depot 4 in the past. We have done so again. The crackdown on Depot 4 has been so harsh, and another point to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most popular lower decks. Everything that happens there has a knock-on effect on all its neighboring sectors. I heard enough. I'll go down the lower decks and deal with the problem personally. I'm certain the Sessional was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of the decision for myself. This matters not the war. Yeah, you know what? We'll verify what our Sessional is doing. Firm preserve you, Lord Captain. I thank you for your support. Enterprise boarding on the sophomore, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I categorically insist that I escort you. Of course. Yeah, the dialogue does not hold back. It is very. So that's the one thing I do enjoy about Warhammer 40k, where like, yeah, it is very vicious, but like everyone is like geared to one goal, and a lot of times the way it works on the battlefield is that like our characters like Commissar, a lot of Commissars are like, hey, I'm gonna make my men more afraid of me than the scary monster that's charging us across the battlefield, and a lot of times it works because just like whole thought of like they're holding a fire line and the monster's charging you is like, yeah, we might die to this monster, but if we kill it, we survive. Because and the thought of like, hey, if we don't defeat this monster, we're gonna get 1 in 10 of us are gonna get executed for cowardness. So like it's always a little funny thing where it's like a lot of times the normal guardsmen are more afraid of the officer behind them than the guy that's in front of them charging at them. And of course, one of my favorite things is like you could like a commissioner could just execute any old private, and everyone around the private would be like, well, if he was just following orders, that wouldn't have happened to him.
Follow my lead.
Hey, it's Roasting. Take that, scum. Yeah. Oh. Ibar reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startling human gesture, and I tell you one, rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show for his armor like veneer self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Did you hear they're shouting your name? The people dare to respect a senior officer? Let's keep moving. We need to get up to the bottom of this. Yeah, they would dare to respect a senior officer. They would not have the chance to express such disrespect if we were not here. And this situation has been dealt with by the relevant officers. If a junior officer is worse failing to pass problems up to the chain of command, I've never been able to abide it. I shall say it again. It was a mistake to come here on Lieutenant Van Swin, poor Captain. I must admit that the lieutenant is by no means the worst material for an officer, but in the name of terror, that girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the gall to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hunt down cultists. It'll be another 20 years at least before she can be trusted to act without oversight. Did you hear? They're shouting your name. Of course they were. The organizations of the daily routine life of the ship rest upon my shoulders. The amount of challenges and problems from which I have endeavored to insulate you, Lord Captain, the situation lower decks have been a cause for concern. I have been intervening personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. You do not know your face. To them, you're akin to a creature of legend, when I stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. Whereas I am the man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering bays heating. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. Oh, by the way, we should upgrade Cassia. Uh... Yeah, we're gonna do willpower for you. We're gonna give you nimble so you have a better chance to dodge. Yeah, we're gonna do commanding voice and willpower. What is the weapon you have, by the way, Cassia? You need to get you a better one.
I'll lay claim to the stars. Victory awaits.
The sounds of a heated discussion were brave for the ship base. Lieutenant of early event of the ships and forces is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer. Judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged on for some time already. It has now reached boiling point. I have my orders to put an end to this unrest and purge the sector. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are only 3 people who can waltz here without my express permission. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So now all my lessons fell on deaf ears. Iblar mothers in crabby approval. He dares not clarify whether he means Lieutenant Bent, the officer looming over her, or both. Probably means both, honestly. Both are both are being so stubborn, like, these are my orders, and I will carry them out no matter what. Your lordship, knowing she the 2 junior officers, snapped to attention and salute. The subordinates following suit a moment later. We encountered some locals on our way here. Their conduct was outrageous. They even tried throwing things at us. Bent pales slightly. The people are getting desperate, clearly. They saw the assault unit and they decided they had nothing left to lose. I apologize, Lord Captain. It is outrageous. I'm sure the people simply didn't recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We'll deal with them once the current situation is resolved. What's the situation? Leadership, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allowed. Is that all you have to say? Are you sure you're worthy an officer's rank, Lieutenant Vent? Forgive me, Lord Captain. I will take steps to ensure a thing does not happen again. I want to speak with the strikers. Abelard mouth twists but restrains himself and says nothing. Right, you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck.
It's about time.
A dozen pair of eyes stare representatively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of lower decks, who take in their simple clothing, rude weapons, faces that display with varying levels of mutation from the barely discernible to the strange to outright grotesque. A whisper passes through the crowd, and then you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in the reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd. An elderly woman and 2 men. There must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you've come down to us. We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to the limit. They're lashing out. And if we don't know why these top deck units are being sent down here, like the ones there the lieutenant won't let pass. Our clans are all inside the bay that's been sealed off. The lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who have just enough. We're getting you from all the sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who have risen up. The squad has just arrived. It is no wonder folks that are lashing out. Their words seem sincere to you. The body language and the glance trading between them reveal that the news of the attack has shocked them. Tell me, what is troubling you? Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship, says a tall man, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, Rivet. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your Devon forces are all over us down here. They said they're looking for cultists. One wrong word, and they're reaching for the batons. They want to punish someone, and they turn off the heating to hold base for a week at a time, so we get sick and freeze. In my clan, the 2 little ones died from the inflammation in their lungs, all because of these enforcers. Arjuna does not interrupt the workers, but you see the sadness well in her eyes when the children's deaths are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes a sign of herself. It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks who grew up in the midships and had no fellow treating us. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers. We're your servants. We applied no disorder, we went on strike openly, and now we got guns pointing at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The prosecution states, apropos of nothing you say, I was told that of you that was found in possession of a cultist amulet, and that there was heretics hiding here. A cultist amulet? What's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? There's something evil or forbidden we didn't know. The enforcers just said that they were looking for heretics among us. Anyone obstructing their investigations would be punished. But how there could be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been new faces around here. Definitely not. If there was, we'd be the first to report them. As for this amulet, whatever it is, they took off the dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. And when the fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. Boots they came back with? Nobody ever treated those decks and boots so fine. I can tell you that. Seems to me these cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, those boots really were fine. Well, there's no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor. And when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirits of the large and small transformers in the surfer motor. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling. Beloved, your lordship, we are people of faith. I have children. Weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the arch-enemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any familiar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. Last time we saw a confessor in our sector, it was just after I had my 3rd little one. That is regrettable. We cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who do you blame when beasts crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down upon himself and his neighbors? Hey Lord, do you have anything to add? Authorized the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. Specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. They are enemy and a threat to the ship, and neutralizing them demands decisive action. What changes do you want? Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain himself is asking us spell address what we want. Well, here's what we want you to rein in your damn enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. But that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here. We want to be armed. Give us arms, we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their face. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of these club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. Gone too far, old man. You'll never let the maggots on the lower decks live without the enforcers breathed down their necks. They'd probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. We don't need that. And the enforcers stop harassing us, that'll be enough. In return, we'll find the scavengers who robbed those cultists' bodies. We'll talk to them. One lower decker to another. There are more in these damned amulets about. We'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures. I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the anointed one turns his back, these brutes will be on us even harder than before, all because we dare to speak out. Tall Worker's eyes dart between the 2 arguing leaders. Every few seconds he opens his mouth as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Spreading our anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, these enforcers are needed to maintain oversight order. Withdraw these demands and we'll consider the rest. Yeah. The tall worker they call Rivers and casts a sob and look at the old man. Old man, listen. The Lord Captain himself has come down to us and offering concessions. I don't know a single person in the whole deck of Depot 4 who ever stood next to the rogue trader. Let alone talk to them. Back down. Now's no time for you to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, old man. The 3 clans of Depot 4 ought to act as one. We made our minds. It's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers give us weapons. We don't need any of that. You 2 are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman. Well, shut up, I will. Indeed, I won't go against 2 clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with enforcers, make your peace. That's gracious and fantastic, Lord Captain. We've all agreed. Then it's agreed the persecution will stop, and I expect you to assist in locating the remaining amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your lordship, thank you. You have not abandoned us lower deckers. You came yourself and settled everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Of course, your lordship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned. Ooh, what's this? And I think we go back here. Stopping unexpectedly, Abelard imperiously dismisses you in the stand in the distance and addresses your other companion, saying, I have an emergent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. He's probably going to tell us he didn't agree with that. Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You bestowed no totem soil rabble. You believe their lies and share them in innocency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, rabble will welcome them all in with open arms, allowed them to wreak whatever havoc they like, because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see the future of the helm of the Von Vlaxis Proctorate? Okay, you know what? Let's talk about this role and all this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. Remember Lord Captain Theodora? Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and junior officers. Why did she dedicate herself to her grand designs for the Proctorate? Is any true strategy to rogue trader odds? Ooh. Maybe if Theodora spent more time on trafficking matters, she would have wound up dead. That feels like very aggressive to say, like, you know, because he like was loyal to her, like, you know, just be like, you know, maybe she did, you know, she actually handled the little problem, she wouldn't be dead. I feel like that's like really just like a low blow. But also giving me a reason why I should continue listening to your advice and trusting your judgment feels also like a really harsh thing to say. I mean, he's been giving very sound advice. I think number 2 would be the making most sense. I would be only too willing to trust my professional and not fill my head with such matters. But the situation is spiraled out of your control. I mean, that's like what had happened. Like, pretty much he's supposed to stop like all this stuff from happening, and like he even allowed like a junior officer like march all the way to the throne. It spiraled out of his control. You're right, at least as concerned junior officers making complaints directly to you. Hello, the Lord Griffin. And I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. The prosperity of the Von Vlaxis Proctorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds the sign of true greatness. Rogue traders not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. They create impulse. That creative impulse was eternally lacking during my time in the military. Yep, technically not my first playthrough. I have a playthrough that's off stream and a playthrough that's via stream. I'm not far in either. This is like very early on in the game. I'm still technically in like the prologue for this playthrough. I just got into like chapter 2 of my off stream playthrough. So not that far. Yeah, I'm already loving it. Like the voice acting in this game is like top notch. As a huge and then some really messed up stuff. Yeah, as a Warhammer 40k fan, like it's really nailing everything really well. Like I know like Warhammer 40k, like when I first started getting in, it was like really hard to get into, like trying to find like the certain things because like trying to like find a good starting point. Like the Horus Heresy itself is like 40 books. it becomes like very difficult to find where to start. And I feel like this is like a perfect way to start Warhammer and to like get into it. They have anything from Space Marines to Commissars to explain what the Chaos is versus the Emperor. Um, yeah, Caiaphas Cain was the first novels I started with. He was the first books I read, and I was like, oh wow, this is grimdark, but still very much there's comedy. There's even a bit of romance. There's a lot of like good action scenes. Um, from there, you can kind of like branch off into different things. Like, do you want to continue more of like guard books, like other Commissars, like with like the Yarrick, the stuff with Yarrick, or maybe you want to even like see more of like the Inquisitor stuff, like with I can't think of their names, but like it, or even like, hey, you like the stuff with the Space Marines. Here's so many chapters you can take a look at. Um, Very good stuff. Um, and some of the games can be very difficult. Like even like I love Space Marine 1, but like it kind of expects you to already know stuff about Warhammer 40k to get into the game. Where in this game you can kind of come in blind and it'll give you a whole dictionary to look at. Like, hey, this is what this phrase meant. Hey, this is more background information about this character. It's really good. Yeah, like in general, Inquisition books are good grimdark horror mystery novels. They are. They are. Space Marines are more military war focused. Yes. Though I will say, some of them like oh god, like with like the Templar books. Like I love the Templar books, but like the Templar books are like so grimdark to like for the sake of being grimdark. Um, though some of the Salamander books I really love because like some of the Salamander books really touch on even though you're a Space Marine, you still have a family, which is like the only chapter where they can still have a family and go visit their family on leave. The Vilka Fenric books. I'll put those on my notice. Um, I mean, Space Wolves are always classic. Um, Blood Angels I always find very nice in a poetic sense of between what their curses and what they are, where they come from. Especially when it's like the Sanguinius books are just beautiful. Anything with Sanguinius is just great. Yeah, the wolves are a jovial read. Oh, I can't think of his name because I was talking to this with my buddy the other day because he's a huge like Space Wolf fan, and there's just a character who's a trickster whose whole thing is about like playing tricks on his fellow Space Wolf brothers, and like I remember just one thing that I thought was really great was that like he had his one heart like stabbed out, so he replaced one of his two hearts with I think it was a stasis grenade, and so if anyone ever were to kill him, the stasis grenade would go off and he'd be frozen in time. That'd be like his last little prank, and I was like, that's beautiful. That's all I need to know about this character to love him immediately. So I left everything behind I've known. Everything my family has known. I come from a long line of law officers. I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture, Lord Captain. Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. She had gone off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages. The advancement of the entire proctor rested on my shoulders, and then suddenly everything they had built over years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hangar in a semisically active world. One of his senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All this has come on a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid a new rogue trader, to aid you, to find your footing as quickly as possible, and to do that, I must insinuate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with, and by tried and tested procedures. Set on the ship's regulations, procedures that were established long ago and functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excess to requirements. Yep, stasis grenade. It's just like such a beautiful thing. Um, it's just I love like little tidbits like that. Like to me, that is like a perfect like final prank, like final trick. And I think one time he even tricked, I think was like like an orc army to like kind of like declare war on itself by just picking fights with them over comms, and it's just like you love that. Oh yeah, it was such a great character. One of the books I was going to look into recently was the whole what was it? was it Lorgar who had Angron on his ship, and because I remember I saw a whole like little quote of like him in this a conversation with Karn, and I'm like, oh, I gotta read this. And then of course I just recently read the Fall of Cadia, which is such a great thing. The guard, the planet broke before the guard did. If you had to trust in established procedures, and she died, I won't make the same mistake. If you want to keep building the future of the Von Doctor's Proctorate for me, stop living in the past. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world, a world where Fyodor is gone, and where you and I have new decisions to make. Prosperity of the Von Doctor's Proctorate is just as important to me. You're the only person who has comprehensive knowledge of how things are run in the ship. I think in the future I will follow your recommendations. I value what Fyodor created, and I trust that the situation is aberration in the ship's otherwise smooth operations. Since established procedures are working, I see no check. Honestly, like, I see no reason to antagonize him. Like, I want to trust him because he's on our side. Yes, I always think about that. Like, there's always like different what ifs in like Warhammer, and I think one was like, what if Angron was just sent to a different planet? Because like his power is so strong and so, I don't want to say weak, but it can make him weak. And I always wondered, like, what if Angron landed on a different planet? Like, what if Angron landed on the planet of like Sanguinus, or maybe Vulcan, or even like someone else? Like, he possibly would have not followed. God, there's always so many things. My whole favorite thing is that even though we put so much that it's Horus's heresy, um, Lorgar is the. I mean, yes, what the Emperor did as well, but like the nails were like started the whole process because like he was missing parts of his brain. What was it, like 60% of his brain? But Lorgar is the cause of everything, and I still find it interesting that the religion that Lorgar made is being used against him. It's just like a terrible irony. But my favorite Primarch was always Vulcan. I always loved Vulcan. The Salamander is just a great chapter. Like a lot, there's something about like I think people don't realize about a lot of Space Marine chapters is that they will leave a planet because a lot of Space Marines thoughts are like, hey, we're worth so much money and resources that our value outweighs this tiny little planet. And where the Salamanders would be like, hey, we were told to come here and defend the people. We will defend it to the last. Ebler tips his head in a sign of assent. The shadow of incredibly strain, which Lily has been wearing on him for some time, finally lifts from his face. I am glad you see the value in the foundation laid down by Sir's predecessor. I'll fix what isn't broken. As for me, I shall endeavor not to cause you any further consideration, Lord Captain. Now, please let us leave the lower decks. If the Yorkshire desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places. I love that. They're both nice in their different ways, I will say. Both are different nice in various ways. Because there's more than one kind of kindness, and they're both kind in their thing. Because I would say the Salamanders see that every person is worth it, where the Space Wolves are just like truly kind. Alright, let's see. Get back in the fight. Recover from bleeding, toxin, stun effects, burning. Air for thee. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, get back in the fight. I'll take that. plasma weapon, bolter weapon. I want to get some of these proficiencies, probably. Dual weapon combat, maybe. Grenader? Not really. Contagious luck. How so? Jinx. Be smart. True, okay. Fair. Ooh. I want to give it like something proficiency because I like to be able to check of all trades with characters. So probably the bolter weapon. Ah, gotcha. I like being the skills multi-tool, honestly. Um, it's one of my favorite things. But usually when it comes to like any type of RPG, whether it is like Rogue Trader, like the Pathfinder games, the D&D games, I tend to make a charisma-based character. Um, that's why my persuasion is at a 90 right now. I just like the idea of making a persuasion-based character. Did you pick Forge World? What did I pick? That's a good question. I forgot what I picked. It's been a while. Voidborn. Voidborn. I just liked it because of the rerolls. Because I like things with luck as well. So I was like, you know what? I can make a precision based class and do the whole like little reroll thing. It just felt really thing. Um, so I'm not trying to also like make what's it called? Like min maxing at all. So I try to make stuff that I feel that I make that it feels very thematic, and I like to make a luck and persuasion based like just characters. It's just very fun for me. Um, though always it always the always weakness is that I always make strength the last thing when it comes to like making my characters for any type of game. Like for me, strength is the dump stat because I was like, you know what? I like talking my way out of the problems. I'll become the Han Solo of things. Did I take? Yeah. Okay. Get back in the fight and the bolter weapon proficiency. Awesome. Cassia. Oh, I just realized she's dogmatic, which makes sense. I just realized her homeworld is unknown. Interesting. Navigator. I should actually take a look more of that. Let's see. Yeah, hold my gaze. We'll do that. You have nimble already. I see that's stuff that works. Like if you don't have like look though that's like a true like type of build. Like if you don't have to fire a weapon to win your battles, why fire a gun? You know. Ooh, okay. I want to get nimble and then spark courage, willpower, commanding voice. My protection. Ooh, strange vitality is like really nice. And flow. That's really good. Every second, every even turn, second, fourth, gains additional action point. Oh, thank you for the posture touch. Yulet and Argenta. I've to give you an idea, I just met Yulet in my farther along playthrough. Um, Argenta, I've been told, is a power dealer. Also, Abelard is actually a really good one as well. Like I don't know. I forgot how I built him in my other playthrough, but like he just is just two wielding, one shotting things. It's just beautiful. He just has a giant hammer and just one shots like bosses. Because I just put like a bunch of like extra turn stuff on him, so it's just like okay, he'll. I put like a bunch of movement stuff, so do absolutely massive management. Yes, yes, she can. I seen that in one fight. I have him just run up to a boss, swing, give him an extra turn, swing, extra turn. It's just beautiful, beautiful. Let's see. I should really pick one. Actually, you know what? Ebb and flow. I really like. We'll do that. Agility. That's fine. But just war him a freeze right whole game. For single shots, starting. Yeah, the names are just really good. Warhammer is very good. Oh, the Emperor. The devotee gains a 30% chance to ignore any enemy attack the Emperor protects. Ah, that is too fitting. I love that. That's just so fanatic not to take. The Emperor protects. Uh, Joint analysis until the operator's next turn. Their allies' attacks also remove exploits and deal intelligent more damage. Satanic powers. Pyromancy. Ooh. Foreboding? Mm. Let's take power. Satanic powers. And then we're gonna take logic for you. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Hello. Welcome everyone. Uh, Thank you for the rating. Hello, I am Sukino Usagi, your Moon Rabbit Turn host. I play a variety of games and host a feature interview show called Espresso Hour. Welcome in. I am playing Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. To give you an idea, if you're familiar with the Owlcat games like Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteousness, or Kingmaker. This is made by those people. It is based in the Warhammer 40k universe. If you don't know those two games, think top-down Baldur's Gate 3. Well, we'll say that to give you a comparison. Yeah, it is Warhammer. Yeah. Oh my god, Warhammer. Yes, 40k, Rogue Trader. The Emperor protects. What did I want? Better to die for the Emperor. Ooh. Doing my part. Oh, god, ready to serve. Honestly, swift movements. We need you to get like to the front line as like quick as possible, my friend. Now maybe we can actually get to the next planet. Live streams all the time. Saku, there's just Fall Guy streams are always fun. I should put my phone on charge as well. I dabble, but starting to more off things to help a font. Aww. That's adorable. Ooh. In my personal opinion, of all, so I to give you an idea, let me give you a bit of like background information. Grindhouse, this will help you like get an idea. I've been a Warhammer 40k fan for the past, I want to say almost decade and a half. So like I've been following Warhammer 40k for a very long time. I got into with the Caiaphas Cain novels. I read a lot of the Horus Heresy books. I own quite a few books, actually. I know a lot about the Primarchs. I know even stuff from the 30k, all the way back to even the Sigmar stuff. Of all the 40k games, I've played. This is the easiest to get into because I find that a lot of the 40k games they kind of have like a wink wink nudge nudge. They already expect you to know about Warhammer 40k, so that's kind of the weakness of them. Where Rogue Trader, even though, let me give you a good idea. I need to figure out. Even though you may know about Warhammer 40k or not, it gives you a whole like dictionary. And oh, Patty was streaming. Thank you, Raiders. For those who don't know me, I'm Sugino Usagi, Moon Rabbit Turn host. I play a variety of games, but I also am known for my VTuber interview show called Espresso Hours. Tonight we're playing Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. But yes, as I was saying, Grindhouse, even if you know nothing about the game itself will give you a dictionary and give you like what each of these words mean. Like it tell you like what is a fabricated sensor versus like who's was Enseer, what is heretics. It gives you like a lot of information to know like what is the machine spirit. Like it gives you a lot of important information about the game, which I like really enjoy. So like it is Rogue Trader, in my opinion, Grindhouse is the perfect game to get started into Warhammer 40k, even if you have a little bit of knowledge to a lot of knowledge, and it's great. So I find it's a really terrific game of that. I also love RPGs, so like that. To give you an idea, let me bring up my character. I made a Commissar from a Void planet, who's a persuasion-based character. Um, some of the other characters we have is Abelard, who's a Navy officer. We have a Idria, who is a psyker. What about knowledge? Yeah, it works well with that because even in the conversations that you have with characters, it'll highlight words, and you can hover over that word, like the Emperor, and it'll explain like, oh yeah, the Emperor, he's the god, of mankind. And right away in the beginning of the game, you have a psyker on your team, you have a battle sister on your team, and you even meet a navigator, which is a mutant, and you also meet a space elf, which is a space eldar, the Eldari. You eventually meet a inquisitor, a space marine, and recruit them. So like even for a casual fan or even someone who's just new to Warhammer 40k, you get a bit of everything. Oh yeah, you also get a tech priest on your team as well. So you get a little bit of everything, and it's like the perfect way to get into Warhammer 40k. If it helps both you, Rin, and Grindhouse. Sorry, I'm a huge fan of Warhammer 40k, so I can go on like tangents and rants about it. I'm not as much of a big of a fan of 40k as I am with Fate, but I can tell you a bit about Warhammer. The now I can't just also praise a game without saying one or two cons. It goes off a bit about the Warhammer, because Warhammer has a board game, um, just like D&D and everything. And there's actually quite a few editions. I think what the ninth edition of Warhammer just came out 2-3 years ago. It runs off their rules. Um, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I actually mentioned them earlier in case if people were curious about them. So it does, like, for example, when in D&D, if you roll an attack, you have to meet the AC. Where in Warhammer, even if an enemy rolls an attack, you have a chance to dodge or parry the attack. Like if like Patty swings a weapon at me, there's a 70% chance for me to dodge and maybe a 35% chance to parry. So even if I missed a dodge, I could attempt a parry of the weapon. So combat is a bit more advanced. It's a bit more it's a bit more I would call realistic, because even though you might roll really well to attack, I might also just be just as quick to react to parry the weapon away. Um, oh, that's even a thing. There's abilities like that. Like one of my characters is a tank can have an ability where he has temporary wounds. They just laugh it off because like Warhammer 40k, taking injuries is a common thing. So, there's that. Oh, another thing. If you reach 50% health, there's a chance you get actually an injury. Let's say like broken arm. So like till you do a long rest in this game, which is return back to the ship, you suffer like 20% agility reduction. So like the combat is a bit more advanced, a lot more tactical than D&D or Pathfinder, even on the easy settings. So that I would say that it might be a con for the game for people, is that you have to think very seriously. Oh, like one of my favorite things is we'll use our battle sister for example. She can burst fire her gun, and what burst fire does is instead of like a single concentrated shot on a target, you can fire a burst of 5 bullets in a cone direction. And the funny thing is, in that cone direction, if your ally's in that cone, you could end up hitting your ally. So you could potentially hit 5 shots on the single enemy, or one single shot that can kill 3 separate enemies. But you can also end up hitting your teammate 5 times. So the combat is a lot more dangerous compared to other games, because friendly fire is very much a thing in this game. Oh, damn! I'm capable of taking anything seriously. This is why I haven't paid taxes. Fair. Oh, and my last little favorite thing about this game. Warhammer 40k works in a very particular thing, whereas chain of command is everything. So if one of my favorite things is if a private like tells you off, you could execute him, and everyone around that private would be like, yeah, if that guy just did his job, that wouldn't have happened, and everyone just like is just treats it like it's normal. So like, if you want to be a bad guy, get a character in this game and just execute everyone on this slightest little incident, it's just hilarious because like every conversation you have, you can just be the meanest person ever. I love it. Yeah, it's grimdark, like, and I love it for that. What would be an evil character in These like Tuesday in War? Yeah, no, that is like really much a thing. Is that, and that's like I enjoy about the Commissars in Warhammer is that their whole job is to make you more afraid of me than afraid of that monster that's charging you. And a lot of times it works. The guard will be so afraid of the officer that's standing behind them, ready to execute them at the slightest bit of hint of running away, that they'll just straight up massacre monsters or space marine enemies just because they're more afraid of the officer behind them than the charging uh, more powerful enemy. Immediately. We start looting. And we'll talk to the pilot.
Halt! I noticed something.
What did you notice? Oh, the trap that's right there.
Never doubt me.
Come in, escort. This is Captain Varaki. Escort, please come in. The pale young woman looked at you with a mixture of hope and disbelief swirling in her eyes. You noticed her hands trembling and she clenches her weapons. Who are you? Did you come from the planet? Are you reinforcement? Satan's teeth, I thought you'd never come. Abelard teaches riffraff and proper ways of addressing your sovereign. Look, immediately, you can be like, you know what? I don't like how you just interacted with me. My right-hand man, introduce me for me. In the dark future of Warhammer, the most evil thing you can do is actually be... there are good people in Warhammer. Though good can be a bit broad. Like there are some things about Warhammer 40k. There are grimdark just to be the sake of grimdark, but then there's stuff like there are stories where like even though in the grimdark there is hope, and that is what like one of my favorite speeches is like there's this bad guy, to put it simply, is bad mouthing a good guy who works for the Imperium, and it's like, you know, there is no hope for you, you're fated to die here, etc., etc., and I pity your guardsmen. And the guy's like, yeah, our guardsmen might be weak, you know, they might die in the thousands to try to stop you, but we have held the line for 10,000 years. What is your excuse? And I just like, oh, I love that. Pale woman looks at you with, yeah, Abelard teaches Sturridgefraff. Officer, the person before you is Suki von Voloknis, a rogue traitor. Although you're, from what I gather, a subject of another dynasty, you would do well to introduce yourself with the proper decorum. At once, sir. The woman stands at attention. Captain Oracle Vakari, servant of House Winterscale and the pilot of this shuttle, is honored to be greeting his lordship von Voloktis. Tell me about this planetoid. The only settlement on Rickard Philia is a penal colony. The prisoners work in the mines and the domed quarries. They mine sulfur, cerebral dust, and sand, which is, when melted down, a rather nondescript place. or so it was prior to current events. What happened here? There's been a prison riot on the planetoid. Sadly, it's being led by the prison warden himself, the Honorable Anfagon Castaglia. He's allied himself with the rabble that he himself was supposed to watch, and declared Riccardi Filia to be independent of the authority of the lawful governor. I came here as a shuttle pilot alongside the Honorable Evian Winterscale, son of Caligos Winterscale, rogue trader, vanquisher of Xenos, forever trampled over the enemies of humanity. Young Lord Winterscale wished to speak to the warden personally, so he could put an end to this lawless treason. His escort went ahead, and I've been able to contact them over Vox for a very long time now. Evian. One of his distant younger offspring, yes. As much as I know about him, which means he hasn't distinguished himself in any meaningful way. Evian Winterscale has made several diplomatic trips to Everic 5 on behalf of his father, rogue trader Caligos Winterscale. The Great Regent would not have granted entry to someone dishonorable, which means whatever happened in this terrible malodorous place, we must aid this man of noble blood. The warder himself is spearheading the riot? That reminds me, Patty. How was Battlefront 2? I almost forgot to ask. Yes. No one expected this. Master Caliga is a nobleman from the respected governor's house and a vassal to the House Winterscale. All of a sudden, he proclaimed himself that Riccardi Filia was now his personal domain, that the prisoners were his subjects, they would never bow to anyone again in pure heresy. And I take it they're looking forward to a diet of sand and gravel. What kind of madman would start a revolt on a barren rock? What would young Winterscale have felt the need to parley with the descendants? It's a personal matter. Master Castaglia, the Sedius Warden, is Lord Avian's childhood friend. Gotcha. When the Lord heard of the riot, the news saddened him greatly, and so he rushed here without delay, in hopes of bringing his old friend his sentences, no doubt. First Winterscale in my memory who prefers to talk first rather than shoot and slash. Young Lord Winterscale is not his father's shadow. If he is determined to save his friend, he won't back down. I pray to the throne that he is alive and well. He's been gone for a good long time, and I really don't like this place. Theobald executed his wife and only son on the mere suspicion of treason against House Osorio. So why did the noble Evian rush to save one who has betrayed his house? Do bonds of friendship give one the right to make inexcusable mistakes? I'm looking for a man by the name of Hendrix Van Collett. He's here, perhaps? Unless it's one of the prisoners or guards, then it seems unlikely. There are no shuttles in working order, other than yours and mine. There's nothing else anyone could use to reach this place. Is there anything else I should be apprised of before I set out? Some of the rebels have held up in the barracks. I don't know how many, but given this is the only way through to where the negotiations are taking place, I would expect heavy resistance. Please take caution, your lordship. Lord Winterscale guards mine the entrance so that the rebels can get to the shuttle. I have no more questions. Your lordship, if I may have a minute of your time, I wouldn't even dare to trouble you with a personal matter, but the situation in any case. Have you been to the capital of Rickard Minas yet? I want to ask if you saw a man there, communications officer by the name of Jasper. What is your relationship with this man? We are engaged, your lordship. I've not yet been there. That's a shame. May the Emperor keep that fool from harm. Thank you for your time, your lordship. She bows. You can tell by the desperation in her eyes that she is exhausted, frightened, and wishes to be off this planetoid as soon as possible. I mean, I don't blame you.
None shall stand in my way.
Over there.
Okay. Is there a way to get... Okay. Yes, there is.
They feared.
When the faithful are idle, heresy grows.
The future you see could be the whispers of the archenemy. How can you trust your visions, Adira?
I don't think that's the question you wanted to ask. What you wanted to ask was, how can others bring themselves to trust a despicable cipher like me? Face it, sister. Not everybody's as pig-headed as you are.
Ooh. Prison diary. Oh, it's past 1 a.m. So I might go for a little bit more, and then from there we'll call it a night. But I at least want to do the prison part if possible. I know a fight is about to begin.
I won't heed your cries of mercy.
Give me strength.
Okay, so we've been ambushed. Okay. Can you hit them from there? Maybe.
Doubt is for the weak.
Good shots.
I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless.
Momentum.
In the name of House Orsellium, I shall prevail.
I've seen worse battles than this in my time.
I took care of this one.
That's not the Seneschal's job. I'd rather not.
Can you not hit him? Brace for impact. Can you hit anyone with this? Is the question. You
If
can.
I may, I have a star painted black.
The next person in line is Abelard, so there we go. Just kick. My friend, you have made a vital mistake.
Reduced to dust. One to a target.
Momentum.
My time is now.
A tactically sound approach. Indeed.
Here we go. Knife, gas cloud grenade, not bad. I don't think I would use those really too much. Chainmail, knives. Another of the prison diaries.
That wasn't so difficult.
A prisoner's shank. Ooh. Actually does pretty good damage there. Hold on a second. But the cleave would be nice to keep, though. I need to get myself a chainsword is what I need to do. I think that'd be for the best for my character. Let's see, a force grenade, a knife, a flak chest plate, a stump revolver, but ours is a well-maintained one, so it's even better. There's shank.
Sometimes, I wonder to what extent our perception of the Empyrean differs.
Ooh, I'm glad that I never have to look at it. No offense, Cass, but I'll do just fine without an eyeball in the middle of my forehead.
Alright, that's the last one. Prison guard key. Beautiful. Before we go anywhere, we're going to... I don't think we can get into that room there.
A new challenge for me?
We can get in there.
Done.
Oh. My brother, the dawn is nigh. The optimates will guide us into a new existence. I'll log on for this, my dear brothers. Thank the throne. Normal looking faces. We thought we were going to die here with those others. A man with a gap between his smile drops his weapons and hold out his hands in a placating gesture. Please don't shoot us, your nobleness. Let us speak a word. That is a welcome change. Talking before shooting. Still, Lord Captain, the looks of this ragtag bunch hardly inspires trust. Give me a reason not to execute you on the spot. Here's the deal. We're honest, quiet inmates. We don't want to riot. But, well, sitting it out wasn't really an option either. The warden's lapdogs made short work of those who refused to join the festivities. So we had to, you know, play along. That's all it was, play. We never know his offense to the governor of Medivh, nor the lawful authority of House Winterscale. Give us a chance, eh? We just want to wait until everything blows over, and then we can go back to our cellar quietly through the rest of our time. A repentant, honest heretic. How novel. Judging by Elbard's tone, the essential is hardly as utterly unimpressed by the old man's ingratiating monologue. Low-born speech is muddled with colors that conceal his true darker hues. This old man's a long history of lies, and he's using his wills on us as well. I see no foul corruption or intel in his words. Tell me more about the warden and the riot. Why soil your tongue about that heretic? But if you insist. Here's how it is. The warden of this hair prison, the Honorable Master Castelia, was a crackpot from the start. The previous warden ran things the proper way. Prayer, 1 meal a day, work, a punch in the chompers from the guards, work again. But the new one, do you know what his first decree was? He introduced lunches and dinners. By the 9 devils, that's 3 meals a day. The man was obviously stark raving mad. Thing only went downhill from there. The guards quit it with the teeth punching. The wardens forbade them. Instead, the overseers started counting which prisoners were digging up more things in the quarry or swinging their pickaxes harder or whatnot. And would you believe it? They put together a list of best workers. And if someone on that list also showed good behavior, that's when they got promoted to Optimite. That's the upper crust among us jailbirds. Oh, or that's how it was at first. Then the warden decided it was the Optimines of the guards who should be in charge of punishments, and then that was the overseer's job to watch the prisoners' work. So it was the Optimates, and well, let me tell you, that's when those goody two-shoes really started to shine. The guards aren't even in the same league as our dear fellows, the Optimites. In the old days, we had maybe 5 or 10 stiff kickings in a week. Now, well, there was lucky if it was only 50. That was even the end of it. Warden Castiglione moved us out of his chambers to live right in the quarry under the dome. I think stepping in his new home really scrambled his brain. He didn't sprouting the wildest things like the Optimates are saints who behold the truth, and he started taking them to the quarry. Not all of them returned. Those who did would even recognize them. More beasts than men. They were butchering people left and right, even guards and overseers. War himself had armed them, and that's the whole sob story. I knew it from the moment he let us have dinners. Oh, this won't end well. Bill Kocher's right. Whenever nobles start giving handouts to commoners, something always goes wrong. I mean, that with all due respect, your lordship, no offense intended. If I spare you, what do I gain from it? Now, how can us lowly jailbirds hope to thank your noble self? Ah, I have an inkling. See us here? Where, how should I put this? Different from the rest of the prisoners in this place. They're all petty thieves from Raker Minors, debtors, gutter snipes. They're no one serious. Now, we, your nobleness, are cut from a different cloth altogether. We're fortune seekers from the void. Why don't we tell you where on Footfall Station, no, Footfall, Union Shipyard and the best market in the Chronos Expanse? Yes, so we're on Footfall. You can find some very serious business-minded people, and how you can get yourself a very special discount from them on some very special goods. What kind of very serious people? The most serious kind, your nobleness. Have you heard about the Fellowship of the Void? It's the largest piracy alliance in the Expanse. There's no leader, of course. There are some terribly serious captains who decided that cutting each other's throats over loot was, what do you call it, counterproductive? But cutting throats together, now that's anti-counterproductive. Well, their joint efforts leave them with an excess of spoils. They need to spoils it of it somehow. And I, your nobleness, just happen to know someone who can handle such kind of dealings and perhaps with those very serious people. Very well, I shall spare you. That's so great to hear, your nobleness, just great. Now there's a true aristocrat, not the warden creep. Now then, your nobleness, where was I? If you're ever on Footfall Station, there's this district there, the Shadow Quarters. It's called that because it's located behind the statue of our holiest emperor. I know folks who call it something else on account of it being behind the statue. Don't repeat the mistakes, I tell you. Everyone hearing this, waste no time fighting and burning them all. Forget an old man for getting distracted. So Footfall, the Shadow Quarters, there's a bar there, built into remains of an old ship. And in that bar in the back room, certain resident does her business. Tell her Grandpa Backfold says hello. Be your fair client in the blink of an eye. There we are. Well, your nobleness, we'll be going now if you don't mind. You may go. I shan't leave you here to die at the hands of the warden's henchmen. Go tell my pilot that it is the Lord Captain's orders. They'd be sent to my ship. You will join my ship's crew. You have my personal pardon as a rogue traitor. I have changed my mind. By his name, I will not let heretical Strifash such as yourselves leave this place alive. You know what? Let's recruit them. You know some guys that know how to like be slick under the table. Let's hire them. Thanks. We're most grateful, your nobleness. Old man glances at you somewhat skeptically, then smiles and leaves. Ooh, they all had auto pistols. Not great, but something. Ooh. Ooh, the faux hammer. I like the looks of that. It's a one-handed shotgun. This will go great for you.
I'm still new
Oh.
to the art of exploring.
Make it Diviner's Staff.
Victory awaits!
This will probably be the best. Oh. So this is where things get interesting.
Follow my lead!
Guards are dead. Normally, if you came here first, that wasn't the plan. Well, it's getting late, so it's 1:30. So, we'll call it out here. Let's see who is live right now. Not many, I think. You know what? Crown is live. We'll go raid Crownser. Thank you all for stopping by. I am probably going to hit the bed after this. And let's go raid.